Here we go. Well, I was experiencing no camera just a moment ago. I'm just coming from the kitchen, so we're making a birthday dinner for my friend. But hey, let's begin. It's Cheryl Millett, live at 5, Mondays on Facebook. And yeah, like I said, I just coming from the kitchen. So I'm going to go back into the kitchen and make some yummy food, some haystacks and all that kind of wonderful stuff. But it's fun to play in the kitchen. I hope you also have fun playing in the kitchen. Even if you think you're no good at cooking, just try something, try anything. It doesn't even matter if it works out this way or that way, but just play in the kitchen. There's many simple things to make, but try with something you think you're going to like. That would be a lot of fun. So, hi, Annette. So, what's for today? Today is interesting because there's a couple things I was studying yesterday, one being the yellow fat disease. And fatty tissue is not uncommon that they find in our body, be it maybe liver, maybe under the skin, and probably just about anywhere in your body that you can find this yellow fatty disease. And it really is something, if you go to look it up, comes under different names when it comes to the allopathic world. But when it comes to animals, that's what it's called, yellow fatty disease. So what is that? I'm just going to say that for the most part, we're not consuming enough antioxidants, perhaps the stress that we're under, it also causes, free radicals or toxins and blah, blah, blah. But one of the main things really to consider here is that we're consuming a lot of processed fats. It gets back to processed fats, whether they are processed before we get the product, we buy the packaged food. I mean, refined oils come on dried fruit, they come on, well, they're in cereals, they're in breads, but not all of them. So you got to check. Anywhere where you see vegetable oil, it could be sunflower oil, safflower oil, it's all refined unless it says cold press. And this, when it gets into our body, hold on, I'll step back once. You may buy this oil, you may buy this food that's prepared in a package, and it may just be, refined oil. At that point, it's processed, so you wouldn't even want it anyway. But let's say you buy cold pressed. But then what do you do with it? Do you put it on, 350, 400, and are you heating it up? And that, again, will denature and process these fats. It does it to protein anyway, too, as well. So we have this food coming into our body, fats, whatever, are kind of oxidated. Our body may oxidize it further. It may be a way it just gets out of the body, the oxidation. But let's say it doesn't get out of the body. Let's just say we have too much processed or oxidated fats in our body, and the body will hold on to it. It'll store it. It'll put it somewhere if it's not being able to deal with it. But the other side of it is those fats may be all that you have to use to replenish your fats. So then now you're working with, I guess, similar to building a house, you're working with suboptimal building materials, and your body may be in that place as well. So here's an exercise for you to do. Look at the foods you have in your cupboard and see which ones have vegetable oils in it. Just take note. And it could be salad dressings, it could be breads, it could be any packaged good, any put together food that's already there, granola, things like that. But just check it out and see what kind of processed foods that you have there. And that's about that. So that's the yellow fatty disease. And the other thing I wanted to talk about today is kind of skipping over to a whole other area, which is kind of thinking about last week and some conversation I was having with people, but just thoughts I was having as well, which is on this planet, on this world, we have a multitude of differences that come from, yes, the way we look, from religion, from politics to cultural differences, all the cultural differences. But there's these differences. And for some reason, we are afraid of these differences, or we have to actually feel and think that we have to pick one, or there only should be one. And one is right and one is wrong, and they've got it wrong, or we've got it right, or that's how it should be, or maybe that's not how it should be. So we have these differences. Could also be an exercise for you, but we have these people that are all around us, and some places may have more differences than others, but you're going to find some difference. As we say, when we get together with people, we have something in common, or a few things in common, or a lot in common. Well, when you don't have a lot in common, there's usually going to be something you don't have in common, or there's some difference there, but do we accept it or not? So here as individuals, we can look at ourselves as accepting who we are, what we were dealt with, where we were born, culturally, what do we do, and just accept that. The next step is to accept where other people are at and what they've chosen, where they were born, perhaps, and what do they do culturally, and just accept them. And then I kind of want to put a twist in it, because there's at times where we may be born into a certain culture, and we may be born into things, and we may not be accepting of them, right? We may not be accepting of what we've been dealt with. And again, it is accepting for what we've been dealt with, but it's also accepting others for what they were dealt with, and they have to do the same, accept themselves for what they were dealt with, and then to look around them and the differences that are there, and to accept them. So a lot of accepting here. And here's one little exercise you can do. I didn't mean to give 2 exercises this week, but is to actually look around, and when you look at people, it's just a thought process where you go, there's my brother, there's my sister. And this was in a book, Course in Miracles, if anybody's ever read it. But it just kind of brings us down to, we're all human beings. We're all living on this planet Earth. And there's so much not perfect. I mean, we don't have to be perfect, and there's so much that's not perfect. There's so many things that are dysfunctional, but where do we start? Yes, we can be grateful. Yes, we can do kind things. But wouldn't it be better if we just kind of got the thought processes down where we're very accepting? It doesn't mean we have to hang out with them. It doesn't mean we have to like them in a standpoint of hanging out with them. But just changing the thought process, accepting everyone. And that's it. Just play with it in your thoughts. Right? You don't have to tell anybody you're doing it. You can just look around, and whether they're the CEO of the corporate, address, they're driving a Ferrari, or whether it's the homeless person on the street, just accept them, being your brother and sister. I know it sounds a little hippie-ish, but it works. It works. And it does start to change the way you feel. Instead of being judgmental, instead of going into fear, perhaps, or anxiety, or what would I say, or they're better than, or I'm less than, you're just kind of in a nice neutral place here. And you can do it 5 minutes a day, where you're walking down the street, in the bus, on the subway, in the car. You're going to see people in their car. You don't know them. You don't know them at all, but just say, there's a brother and a sister. Anyway, that's the 2 things I wanted to bring up, because I'm kind of making it short today, and to get back into the kitchen before anything blows up or burns. But nonetheless, I just wanted to again bring up the whole fatty, yellow fatty disease that apparently is talked about in animals, but it goes under different names in the allopathic world. But if I ask people about it, if I ask enough people, there's a number of people who say, yeah, I have that. Yeah, I have that. It's just kind of this fatty thing that is hanging around in various parts of the body and various tissues. Similar to calcification. That's also another thing that's happening within our body. If our body is not balanced, then these things happen. Hardening, buildup of fatty tissue, So that here's what I'll bring up. If we want to do a little observation on yourself or others, look for those who have age spots, because those people have age spots. And I know, and typically you'll see them on the hand, and but they can be on the face, and we see it more in elderly, but you can see it in different ages. So look at age spots as being a little bit of kind of fat, kind of gone oxidated, so to speak. And when we're in balance, when we do the right things, then those age spots will go away. Because I did have them, and I guess it would have been in my late 20s or 30s, believe it or not. You could see them, they were faded, but they were there, and now they're gone. So they can go away. But what they say is, if you see the age spots, and if it's already on your skin, then it's also within the body as well. So just bringing up the idea of, we need to focus on or be aware of the fats that can be oxidated in our body. But it's how you kind of reverse that is the choice of fats you're putting in your body. And there's many people out there will say, well, if you're taking fish oil, stop taking fish oil. Do not take fish oil anymore. And it's a lengthy discussion here. But on September the 17th, I'll be doing another presentation. I think this Wednesday I'll be doing one on the Omega page as well. Maybe I'll actually bring that up there. So it's good to see everyone. So really, we do want to focus on the type of fats, and you can look at age spots that way, but look at the foods in your cupboard. And then on the other side is learning to be more accepting. And this is a focus on your thoughts and looking at everybody around you as your brother and sister. I mean, nothing crazy, but that's just a term when we think of being kind to people, or we think of more of a connection, it's family. So use those terms, and for nothing other than just see how you feel with using that, and how you look at people, all people around you, all the people that you don't know, and all different walks of life and so forth. Play with those, and we'll see how it goes. Comment down below. But I'd be very curious on how you found it going. Spend 5-10 minutes doing that exercise while you're walking around, looking around wherever you are in your environment, even people in your workplace, that kind of thing. So with that said, it's live at 5, Cheryl Millett, Mondays, every Monday on Facebook. I want you to have an awesome evening, an awesome week. I think in Toronto here it's going to warm up, but I sure do appreciate the rain for the plants. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful evening, and we will see you next week.